This panel is going to be looking at the digital economy. What is the current state of the digital economy within the Caribbean? Why is it important that we develop further the digital economy state within the Caribbean? And to do this, the format we're going to take, we're going to have a couple cases being presented. First from an entrepreneur who would like to see better payment facilities being facilitated to her business, Franci, from Franci Foods. She would like to see better payments being facilitated into her entrepreneurial ventures. We also have Nerissa Golden, who is going to be presenting, also be participating in the case portion of the panel. She's going to be showing how Caribbean entrepreneurs can benefit from better payment facilities and better higher participation within the digital economy. So Nerissa Golden is a media strategist, business innovation specialist, speaker, and author. She was recently certified by Infodev World Bank to conduct accelerated programs for women on Montserrat and Antigua. She's an advocate for entrepreneurship across the Caribbean for the past 20 years. Next we have Marlon Marie from the OECS. He heads the business development unit across there. Marlon Marie is the acting head of the competitive business unit in the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Commission. As an IT consultant, Marlon oversees all e-business initiatives on behalf of the OECS Commission, which includes working closely with governments, SMEs, NGOs to ensure that the proper framework for economic development through e-commerce is in place. He has worked on EU, CDB, and World Bank funded projects assisting the SME development through e-business. Next down the line we have Mr. Gabriel Abed, and Gabriel Abed is one of the digital currency pioneers within the Caribbean, offering digital currency services within the Barbados market. He's starting off from. So Gabriel began exploring cryptocurrencies and the underlying distributed ledger technology during his undergraduate study as early as 2010. An alumnus of the University of Ontario, he received a Bachelor's in Information Technology specializing in cryptographics and network security. Enthralled by the potential of cryptocurrencies and conscientious of the revolution unfolding around him, he became an early adopter and lifetime evangelist. And he's done some significant work in developing products and services utilizing digital currency, which has recently got buy-in from his central bank and finance minister across there, as well as he's had some investors investing in his business. Next down the line, we have Mr. Tracy Hackshaw. And Tracy, Tracy's actually was with the government up to recently, but everyone knows Tracy Hackshaw as a digital economy specialist, cybersecurity specialist, given his former role in the Ministry of Public Admin on a lot of the work that they have done before. So Mr. Tracy Hackshaw is an IC and digital economy strategist. He founded Vice Chair of the Internet Society Trinidad and Tobago chapter and represents technical community as a director of the Trinidad and Tobago multi-stakeholder advisory group. All right, so we have a very distinguished panel. Let's just jump into it. So I'll hand it straight over to Nerissa, who's going to give us some more insight into other cases that higher levels of participation in digital economy are required.
Good day, everyone. Thank you, Franci, for that, because she really gives you an in-depth version of what I'm going to give you more in summary. So it really, she is articulated it quite well. I don't know what's wrong with my tongue today. All right, my name is Nerissa Golden, and I run Golden Media. It's a media strategy firm based on Montserrat. But quite a bit of my time is actually spent as a business facilitator and entrepreneur trainer for women around the region. When I first launched my business 20 years ago, and that would be the first official business because I've been an entrepreneur since I was a little girl, priorities were just about keeping the lights on, making sure you avoided the landlord until you could pay the rent. And for a lot of business owners, that's literally what they're doing all of the time. It's just the basic needs of paying the bills and getting ahead of the creditors. I think I just turned it off. Okay. I remember back in 1998, I had the opportunity to go to the 6th World Summit for Entrepreneurs in Lyon, France that year. And I was there with a couple other young people from the Caribbean. And I remember there was one designer from St. Kitts, a fashion designer, and there was a young man whose company, I think he was there representing his family, that they did solar panels. And we were there, and our needs were very, very simple. We needed money to buy computers, money to rent some workspace. Again, just stuff about keeping the lights on. And the conversation happening there was on a totally different level. We were looking for thousands and tens of thousands. They were talking in millions. And we realized that we were on a totally different plateau and weren't really ready to engage in what was happening because we are just in survival mode. 2016, and the conversation is still very much the same way. We, as entrepreneurs, we are not really engaged on the level of moving beyond just a day-to-day existence. And part of this is due to, I keep doing this, to our financial services. I was talking to a colleague recently, and this is what she said. The banks are 100% into operating their business and 0% into growing their business. And if they were interested in actually growing their business, they would recognize that the landscape has changed and the needs for entrepreneurs have changed significantly. And so suddenly your bank is almost seems like your enemy because you really can't connect with them about the things that you need. And so many things are happening globally and we're not part of that. I recently surveyed more than 30 entrepreneurs from across the OECS, and a few from Jamaica and Barbados and Trinidad also contributed, which I think helped to give me some perspective. And one of the things I realized is that location in the region is neither a barrier or a blessing for making money online. Because whether they were in Jamaica, I had respondents in Jamaica. One would say it's very easy to make money. Somebody else says, I'm having a really difficult time making money online. The same thing with Montserrat. Someone in Montserrat would be doing very well, being able to process something. Someone else says it's really difficult. And so there wasn't a set place of saying, okay, well, Jamaican entrepreneurs are doing better at this than we are. It really came down to access and to opportunity. 9 of the 14 people who answered one of the questions thought that having access to better payment systems would mean only an additional $1,000 a month they could make. 6 out of those 14 believe that the most they're going to be able to make is about $500 extra a month. This was concerning to me because it means, again, we're still in this survival mode mentality. We really aren't thinking about big business in any real way. Only 3 of the people that I surveyed thought that they could make at least $10,000 a month if they had other options. And all 3 of these people happened to be in the hospitality industry. So 2 hoteliers and a restaurant owner. One person actually told me that they only thought they could make maybe $300 a month if they had other options for making money online. So that tells me something about how we are perceiving the potential of new opportunities for receiving money. What is it going to take for us to go beyond serving just the people in our community to really tapping into the global marketplace? So most of them said they serve clients in their country, others 7% around the Caribbean. Only 1 person served the US market and 2 the UK market. 14 people found it very easy to get paid, while the other 16 said it was somewhat difficult to very difficult to get paid from clients overseas. And like I was saying, a Trinidadian graphics designer said she serves clients locally and overseas, and it's very difficult for her to get money, and primarily she would collect the money via MoneyGram or Western Union. Montserrat water sports entrepreneur said it was easy for her because she used PayPal. And although Montserrat is not in the PayPal system for collecting payments, because of her British connection, once lived there, she still had her accounts active, she was able to use her UK address to be able to access a UK bank account. So, and this was a story across the region where they were tapping into all these other relationships to be able to access foreign banking services, to be able to make money because it wasn't possible for them in their own space. PayPal was clearly the most popular option that they were utilizing using these other connections. I recently spoke to probably one of the only digital marketing specialists I know in the region in terms of direct sales. And he said that if he's using PayPal for over a certain amount of money, it really becomes quite prohibitive. So even though if it's a $200 transaction, fine, but suddenly when you're hitting 700 and 900 and over 1,000, then it becomes much more costly. And it was limiting his ability to really design products, which is what he wanted to do, which were much more high end because he did not have proper facilities to be able to do that. Because he was quite aware that the clients that wanted his products were not within the region. So he needed to find another way to reach them and to be able to get that money very quickly. 7 of the people who answered the survey said family or friends collect the cash on their behalf. This was actually more than the people who use banks and other things. They were also that was a major way that they were collecting money. 9 used bank wire transfers, and 6 used Western Union to do this. And this is for paying goods and services. Most people used their own credit card. Some used a friends or relatives or PayPal to do that. Collecting payments, PayPal, Western Union, transfer, and others collecting money, which usually means you're also having to pay out a little bit more to have that friend hang on to it and stuff like that. There was one person who even paid into somebody else's account who would then transfer the money. So it becomes very convoluted how money gets passed around to be able to do business. Clearly, we need new funding solutions. One entrepreneur told me he was looking to explore the new Atlas by Stripe because he wanted to use it. He was a tech developer. He wants to use it to try to find investment. If you haven't heard of Atlas, it's the new product created by Stripe, which is similar to PayPal. And basically, for about $500 US, they will set up a US bank account for you and would help you manage and facilitate having these facilities. And so this is a new solution that I know some entrepreneurs are beginning to consider. Cecile Watson, a colleague of mine, she's originally from Barbados, now living in Jamaica. She's created Pitch and Choose, which is a Caribbean crowdfunding platform for the very reason, and she's actually a former banker. So she understands the challenges that we're facing in the region, and so she is pushing the education about the potential of crowdfunding and also the possibilities that are there for using it. Latin America and the Caribbean are expected to account for $11.5 billion by 2025 in crowdfunding. This is, the World Bank is saying that by 2025, $93 billion is going to be collected on these platforms, and 11.5 from our region in Latin America. So there's great potential in this, and we should definitely consider it. In 2014, $16.2 billion was raised in crowdfunding. 42% of this went to business and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs are now looking at crowdfunding as a way to finance, test products, and to really get the word out there about what they are doing. Fintech. That's a word I've only recently become uh, familiar with, because again, when you start to expand your network, you begin to meet other people and they throw these words around and you're like, okay, what does that mean? And so you realize that we don't really know what's going on in this area. And so we've got some work to do. We've got to find out more what crowdfunding is about. What's all this talk about digital currencies? There are a lot of young entrepreneurs, not just young and old, who really don't know what is happening and the possibilities. And so we need to do more to do that. So some of the things that have to happen, entrepreneurs have to shift from being survivalist to opportunity. We have to develop a growth mindset. And the minute you start thinking bigger, you also begin to start wondering, okay, so how else is it going to be possible to do that? Versus thinking, I've got to stay small because this is all that's possible. We need more and better efficient payment solutions. We need banks that serve small business. And if they don't, then we need to find a new sort of bank. What would be the next version of the bank that can happen? More engagement in the global marketplace, reduce our aversion to risk, which could also mean having to create some partnerships to be able to expand our opportunities. And this conversation, I hope, will happen in other spaces that that more people can hear about it and begin to see the potential for growth. All right? Thank you.